Who do you think this movie was made for? This movie was made for divorced single dads. And when you look at it through that lens, the dragon makes sense. Giselle is 20.
I'm guessing that Robert is 37. He was 41. And that's all we have for today, folks.
Let's just shrink the dragon and get out of here.
Dragon claw, wing and scale. Come now, let's examine a tale of the greatest beast ever considered. Another episode of Big Flying Lizards.
How do you know that they love you? How do they know that they're fierce? How do they know you're obsessed with dragon passion? Yeah. How do you know that how do you know that you really love the dragons in here? It's not enough to binge a Game of Thrones and say Dracarys. You must remind her or she'll be inclined to say, how do I know he loves dragons? How do you know he's mine? Well, does he leave a little note about smog on my desk in the morning? Does he send dragon memes when the Wi-Fi's a mess? He'll find a way to show you, like quoting How to Train a Dragon every day. That's how you'll know that.
Honestly, I thought the movie couldn't be worse, and somehow you've taken me there. I hated this entire thing. I'm blocking you. Oh, God.
Well, on that note, then, welcome to Big Flying Lizards, a dragon movie and television podcast. I am your host, Bryce Wilson. I am joined once again by our one and only Chayce Hernandez, who is currently trying to call the police on me for appropriating songs here.
You said that was off limits. I wouldn't do that to you. Just make sure they get fed this week.
I said what?
Nothing. Said nothing.
Hey, I did not want to be swatting this episode, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
If it wasn't obvious, if it was not obvious, we are going to be covering honestly a surprise pick. Not a surprise pick, but a surprisingly enjoyable film on my part, at least. We're going to be talking about Enchanted, the 2007 film. Chayce, if it's all right with you, I'd love to just break down what this is, and then we can start ripping into it, talking about it, whatever you want to do.
Oh, man, do I have some great points. I think the best place to start with this is where every good sports conversation starts, which is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's Space Jam ran so that this movie could walk.
What does he got to do about this?
It's the animation into the live act.
Well, I'll just go ahead and do our debrief of the films. Is that all cool? Enchanted is a 2007 American live-action / animated hybrid musical fantasy romantic comedy filmed by Kevin Lima and written by Bill Kelly. Co-produced by Walt Disney Pictures, Jefferson Entertainment, and Right Coast Productions. The film stars Amy Adams, Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden, Timothy Spall, Indy Mazel, and Susan Sanderson, with Julie Andrews as the narrator. It focuses on an archetypal Disney princess-to-be named Giselle, who is exiled from her animated world to a live-action world of New York City metropolitan area. The film is both an homage and a self-parody of Disney's animated features, making numerous references to past works through the combination of live-action filmmaking, traditional animation, and computer-generated imagery. It also marks the return of traditional animation to Disney featured film after the company's decision to move entirely to computer animation in 2004. Enchanted premiered in London at the London Film Festival on October 20th, 2007. It went into its wild release of the United States November 21st. It was critically well received and established Adam as a leading lady and earned over $340 million worldwide. It won 3 Saturn Awards: Best Film Fantasy, Best Actress for Adams, and Best Music for Menken. The original song was nominated for the 80th Academy Awards. This was the first Walt Disney picture film to be distributed under the Walt Disney Studio Motion Picture banner after Disney had retired the Buena Vista brand in distribution division. Well, overall thoughts, I genuinely did really enjoy this film. Like I understand why people are Disney fans after watching this film. It's fun, it's whimsical, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And I think that's sort of what I appreciate about it, because you see so many Disney films that do just take it so seriously. They're like, "Oh, we are doing this crazy thing over here. We are making a difference." But with this, it's just fun. Like, they're over there doing their musicals. They're over there. She's singing with the rodents. She's singing with the cockroaches. It's a lot of fun. I genuinely actually did enjoy this film. Like, I don't think that it took itself too seriously and it was sort of making fun of itself the entire time. And I actually really appreciate that it was doing that. I think that it's one of the few times that Disney is actually being self-aware for once, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's refreshing. Is it the best Disney project that they've done? No, far from. But at the same time, like, I don't think that it's, as far as like a side project that's not going to be one of their big blockbusters. I think it's fun.
No, it was fine. It reminds me a lot of Shrek in the sense of like, I feel like this was the project that nobody wanted to work.
I just watched Shrek again for like the first time in years, and low key, it's a masterpiece. Like, I'm
Shrek's
not even
fantastic.
joking.
The Shrek
Shrek is
so good, but it reminds me like they said like everybody there, like if you were in trouble or like not doing well, you had to go work on Shrek.
Yeah.
That's how this movie feels.
I could totally see that, because they keep like in every article that I was reading about it, it kept bringing up the fact that this was Amy Adams' breakout role. And I'm like, okay, it took this film that people initially were like, okay, like go work on that.
Yeah, 100%. But this movie, my point with Space Jam 2 is it felt like it should have been filmed in the 90s.
Yes.
Like, this movie would have been so much bigger if it was like 10 years earlier.
I don't know about you, but I remember in high school when this was it high school? No, this is 2007. This would have been junior high. I remember people talking about this film like that. That's how you know, that song was huge. Like, I remember people
watching this this is the first time I've ever watched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this is a fresh watch. And I was going through this and I was just like, I remember like this coming out. And I just immediately put it over into like the Hamilton bucket.
I think that's totally fair, though. It's Hamilton, but it's if Hamilton did take itself so seriously. But Hamilton has every right to take it.
All I know is that a Mormon girl will sing it to me. Like, if it's in that bucket, I don't need it.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this film was also like, oddly enough, had quite a few stars in it.
Yeah, no, it did. Like, there was like some star power to this movie. For the time, this is what I was thinking as I was watching it. Watching it right now for the first time with absolutely zero nostalgia was a very just like, okay, like I could, but like at the time, and when this came out, I think which was 2007, would have been like, this would have been so popular.
Oh yeah.
And it was, obviously, it did well. So like, I just think like watching it now with just like a completely like zero nostalgia for it, I was just like, okay, like this is it was good. It was a good movie. It was like I wouldn't mind watching it again, but like, would I pursue this movie again around the holidays? But having said that, looking for the star power in this movie was interesting. because it was just like, why are you in this? Like, when did you have time for this?
How did you get this role?
Literally, it was like one of those. It was like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, where there's
the Spy Kids too.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that, where it's just like, why are you guys all in this?
There's no dragon in it, but I want to talk about Spy Kids 3 so bad because there is serious star power to that movie, and I'm just like, it's such a bad movie.
It's so bad. This movie's actually done really well. This movie's not that bad, but the star power part killed me because I was like, oh my gosh, like, you guys just caught people in between and they wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. A few fun facts about this film. This film was the #1 film Thanksgiving weekend in 2007. There apparently was a duet between the prince and the original girlfriend, not the princess, that got cut from the film, and people have been able to find it online, and it's available. I have not seen it, so after this film, I'm gonna have to go back and check that out because
I had no idea.
Like, this might be a little spoiler alert. The prince is my favorite character. Like I have no shame in admitting it. The prince is like,
we shouldn't have ruined it. Now, what do you think my favorite character was? It's so
squirrel?
easy. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
The squirrel is pretty great. I do love the guy who's like trying to kill the squirrel.
No, he was. Dude. So let's go ahead to go behind. Let me read you one of my favorite notes I took.
All right, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Are we ready to talk about that he crucified that goddamn squirrel? You ready? I was thinking, I was like, holy fuck, he's got that thing held up by his head.
If this was a PG-13 movie,
and he's just fucking, and he's in there just like spit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I think his name is Timothy Spall.
So there was Chalamet before there was Chalamet.
Yes. Chalamet, Timothy Spall walked, so Timothy Charlemagne could run.
Now, I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying it hasn't been disproven that this and the Dune universe are the same.
Well, Dune is technically like 3,000 years into the future from this, so
this would make sense. So are the sandworms actually the portal 3,000 years ahead? And so when you get eaten by the worm, you end up in New York. Anyways, okay, enough of my crazy conspiracy.
Hey, no. Let's go a little further with that.
Oh no,
dude, do you know what they use? Like, what makes their eyes blue? That's how they're able to transport in space. And it's because the worms make it, Chase. They're able to travel through space because of the space worms. They're able to travel dimensions.
I love when it all comes together. Oh, I love when it all comes together.
Behind this curtain, there is wires. There are red strings.
Hold on.
Guys, I know this is what you guys come for. This is the top notch. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the documents to prove this. The sandworms are actually the portal.
All right, now I can talk. The freaking liberals are turning the sandworms against me.
They don't want you to know. We should really start the podcast. All right. Chapter 1. The Fairy Tale Beginnings. An animated fairy kingdom is introduced where Queen Narissa rules ruthlessly. Her reign depends on preventing her stepson, Prince Edward, from marrying. Giselle, a young woman living in the forest, dreams of finding true love and her happily ever after, and she sings a song to attract Prince Edward. Nathaniel, Nerissa's servant, releases a troll to kill Giselle, but Edward rescues her, and the two instantly fall in love and plan to marry the next day. Nerissa disguises herself as an old hag and pushes Giselle into a well, transporting her into a live-action New York City. Real quick, I have every time it gets brought up, I'm going to bring it up on the podcast. Everybody here knows what's coming up. The storybook entrance. I love a storybook entrance. It's nostalgic.
I didn't even notice it.
Well, like Shrek had one. This one had one. I don't know what it is about a fantasy book when it opens up, but get this, Chase. It was a pop-up book. It was a storybook entrance with a pop-up book.
See, I didn't even yeah, I don't have that. You know what my first thoughts were?
Let's hear it.
Not that anything storytelling at all, but the animation that I noticed this was the end of an era for the animation style at Disney, because not even every character looks this way animated, but it took me back for a second to Atlantis and Treasure Planet.
Ooh.
And I was like, I just love it. Like that 90s animation style is one of my favorite things. Whether you're talking like Disney, anime, any of those things, like one of my favorite animation styles is it was almost like a more realistic. And some of those characters have that look in this film, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the whole film was I was just like, okay, that's cool. Now, having said that, there is a Disney trope that happened pretty early in this show. Do you know what I'm? Do you know what
Which
one? The note I put down goes, Disney's foot fetish is going strong.
Hey, Disney and Nickelodeon over there, they're obsessed with feet.
Like, why was he holding on to her toe? Like, the whole thing, I was like, there's no reason to be this, like, put shoes on her.
Are these gay people over at Disney trying to foot fetishize our children over here?
Are they trying to turn the sandworms into foot fetish? Oh my god!
We can't dive down the tube.
Yeah, dude. If we piss off, the mouse, we're fucked.
Oh, Chase, have you not been paying attention? I like openly rip Disney like every single episode. I will not rip our Lord and Savior God Google. Google is God. We do not insult the Lord Emperor Google on this platform. But the mouse, we commit. The mouse, there's a trap for that mouse.
I have a feeling that you have some tough things coming. But no, but jumping back into the storybook
Yeah.
one. But yeah, no, there was I think the whole point of this movie was like, hey, how much this movie did this is a movie lover's movie because they conjured up so much nostalgia. Like, like the fact that I think of these other animations, the fact that I think of Space Jam, like the fact that there's a lot of older films that they stole. This film was quite literally the most unoriginal film they've ever put out, and that was the point. It was like, how many tropes can we put into this as quickly and as just fast as possible? And it works. That's like it,
I agree. I do want to dive into that a little bit, but I also want to backtrack and comment on the animation style thing. But before I do that, I have to point out that Nana Vagar said in the chat, South Park Mickey Mouse is going to pop up behind me in the curtain.
Oh, that's funny.
But I just want to go back to the animation style. I definitely agree. I wasn't seeing it myself when you were talking about Atlantis and Treasure Planet, but I totally see it now. What I was getting is the animation. What I was seeing was that's what like Tangled should have looked like if they didn't go with the whole like 3D animation.
That's so real.
Like I was getting like that's what it would look like almost.
That's super real.
And Loki, I almost wish we would have gotten that from Tangled. As much as I enjoy it, it
Tangled's a good
looks
show.
it's a good show, but there's something, like you said earlier, nostalgic about just the 2D animation versus the 3D animation.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It gives you such a different feel. Like even when I you go back, you watch Akira, you watch any of these other shows, even the cartoons from that era. They're just they have such a more of a warm feeling to them. You know, the page has depth in it.
Well, it's a common conversation that I've had throughout the past few podcasts. We may have talked a little bit about it when we discussed Avatar, but certainly some past episodes. It seems like a lot of these shows and movies just don't have heart in them. Like it's very corporate. They're so focused on making a buck that they're losing the forest through the trees right now. And
Yeah.
I really think the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when Disney was really just starting to develop their mountain of cash. So they didn't necessarily need to be making money, but they were still trying like, hey, we need to make this art so we can get that money. Now Disney has made so much money, like from Marvel, from Star Wars, that they're like, we don't care if it's a good story. It just needs to be safe. It needs to be like on paper. It's I just scheduled a podcast to talk about the Ten Rings movie, which is a Marvel movie, and I have a feeling that it's not going to be bad because I haven't seen it, but at the same
Okay.
time, I just don't think it's going to be like it's not going to be like any of the other Marvel movies, and yeah,
I agree with you. I think and I think that this is the thing with Disney in general though, is Disney, and I will stand on this hill alone, atop the pyramid myself. You can join me if you like. I can't blanket it, but I'm gonna blanket it. Disney's only really good at making Disney. Like Marvel since Disney took over, Star Wars since Disney took over. You know, cue Donald Trump in front of a classroom, getting the notice over his ear. You know what I mean? My cat's.
well, I'm just going to assume that Chase can hear me, but I do get that, and I do agree. Oh, it's chicken.
Yeah, she can't act right, so she gets held right now.
No, I definitely Nana Vagar and I are going to join you at the top of that pyramid.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the pyramid. We sell the people
I
below us.
I will. This is not a popular opinion. I actually did not mind The Last Jedi. Like, if you're just taking it as the movie itself, like excluding the series, I think it was actually one of the better ones.
No,
It
the
just
movie
doesn't.
I didn't mind.
It's. I just sort of hate like, oh, Emperor Palpatine is alive again, and he's actually the big bad. And Snoke, who's Snoke? I don't know what Snoke is. You snort it? Like what? What?
Yeah,
It's
I agree with you. The movie, I don't mind the movie because once again, this is why people hate it. Disney didn't design it as like an end of like the series. It's more of a standalone. And if you watch it as a standalone, you do fine. But I think the hardcore fans are definitely gonna be upset. But like for me, it's even the series, like, you know, I think the problem with Star Wars, this is a different conversation, we'll get back. They're so thirsty for more that they're just drinking and chugging from the gourd of
yes,
things that really aren't that good. Like
yes.
the animated Star Wars stuff is 10 times better than any of the live action stuff that's come out.
No, I totally agree, and I feel like I could spend the entire episode just talking about the Star Wars anime that they released. But before we get sucked down that rabbit hole, uh, we'll go back to the actual film. Uh, I I love the prince. The prince is like just a complete meathead. Like he's just a complete idiot. Like,
He's fun.
and it's I'm sitting there like, what's the story? Like, who's his dad? Like, how did the stepmother come in and become like the queen? And
Yeah,
like,
that's why it works, is because, and I don't even know, you'd have to tell me what the storytelling is, but I feel like sometimes it's like especially in films like this where it just works by telling absolutely zero, you get a feel in, and especially where it's so full of tropes, it's like, let me guess. But it's fun, especially as a kid, which who this was designed for. I think the imagination part was really put in there.
Yes. And I do really enjoy that they really try to tie as many of different stories as possible. Like it's tying in Sleeping Beauty,
Yeah.
where she's living in a woods in a cottage and she has a duet with her prince and they fall in love. She has the Cinderella where she's doing chores and singing and helping get those chores done by the singing. The evil queen is Snow White, and she turns into an old hag. So I do just love that they're just picking and choosing and just making this massive pot that's like a Disney pot.
No, 100%. 100%. And like you said, you don't really see Disney make fun of itself that much and really make fun of the tropes and like how just like I think that was kind of like the whole point of this movie was like, hey, let's just put like our bread and butter play. And like I just think of like scenes even early with her, she falls and like the actor, she plays this character so well to the point
Yes.
of like it's like the acting in this really is done super, super well. And so like you're just watching it and you're just like, it's like almost painful at first because you're not into the movie where you're like, stop it. Just like, you know what I mean? You're like, she just does such a good job of maintaining like, no, I'm a storybook character. And obviously as the movie goes, that changes.
Yeah. I will say this real quick. There's only one, like the acting is pretty strong, and people might disagree with me with this, but I feel like the evil queen wasn't as good as she could have been.
I agree.
Like maybe it's we didn't see that much of her, but like the animation was a lot like when she was doing the voice acting, great, loved it. But I don't know, it's just her facial expressions. It just wasn't selling to me. Like it just seemed like it was literally like the last day of the shoot that she was pulling up to, and she's like, "I don't care. Like, let's get this over with." And
Yeah. She definitely like sold it home big time. Big time. And once again, I think that was on purpose, unfortunately, because I think there's a lot of potential there in those characters. But it does seem like they definitely were like, they were like, no, this is the bike that we rode here on. We're gonna ride, and realistically, I think she could have got a lot more screen time, and I would have enjoyed that.
oh yeah, but I mean, like I said, voice acting wise, she was totally fine, and I loved the design of her animated character. And I actually really loved how they depicted all of the characters in the animated world compared to the
No, it was
like
accurate.
it was accurate, but it was also like really fun and Disneyfied and all of that amazing stuff. I also do want to point out the first time we see the dragon in the movie is at the 7 minute and 57 mark when she's like plotting. She randomly just turns into a dragon and erupts in smoke, and you could just see the outline of the dragon
Which is
there.
such an early show.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the dragon's almost like it's like a hidden secret in this movie of like you don't expect it.
You don't, but like to me, I feel like that's a way of her. Like, yes, she's the evil queen. She's going around in black. She a goth over here. Like, that's what we're getting. But at the same time, I feel like they showed us the dragon just to show that level of greed that she has. She just wants that power. She wants to be ruling over everything. She doesn't want to relinquish that. She has big dragon energy throughout this film.
Yeah, BDE.
That BDE. We're always striving for that BDE. But I'm realizing now that the first chapter only covers the first 10 minutes of the movie. So if unless there's anything else you
No,
want to talk,
we're bouncing. Let's just cruise.
alrighty. Chapter 2: Fish Out of Water in New York City. Giselle is overwhelmed by the chaos of New York City. She encounters Robert, a divorce lawyer, and his daughter Morgan, who convinces him to let Giselle stay there. Prince Edward and Pip, Giselle's chipmunk friend, jump into the well and enter into the real world. Pip loses his ability to speak, adding a humorous and poignant layer to his character. Narissa sends Nathaniel to New York with 3 poisoned apples to kill Giselle. His bumbling attempts to poison her fail twice, showcasing his internal conflict. Giselle helps Robert reconcile with Nancy by sending flowers and inviting her to a ball. Robert begins to soften as he spends more time with Giselle, teaching her about the real world. I keep going back and forth. I love the relationship between Giselle and Robert. Like, they actually have like a really fun dynamic, because when I first watched it, I think I thought it was cheesy because, like, oh, haha, she's a Disney princess. He's a normal guy. But like, as an adult, and I'm really just watching it, and I'm like, if she's coming from a world where you get saved by a troll and you fall in love with them and marry the next day, and he's over here like, and like, it's such a stupid moment, but I love it when the homeless man steals her tiara and like, if that's not the most New York scene in the movie.
Yeah, I really thought watching that part, I was just like, she would have been robbed like 10 times by now.
But she
Like,
didn't have anything except for the tiara. That dress
even
don't got pockets.
even more raw. But like, I don't know. They did such a good job of, once again, this movie's, it knows its demographic, but it gave it content to parents, because it's like, well, this is a very adult, like, starting issues. Like, immediately, as soon as she gets there, she's like you said, like, she keeps cutting dresses out of the curtains and everything like that.
I I love so much.
So funny. Such a funny idea. The fact that she's even making her own dresses. But then it's like the girl, his Rob's girlfriend comes in. It's like, what? You just picked up, like, she just, what? And so it's super funny having these, like, I don't know, like, putting them side by side in a sense. These actual, like, realistic relationships and these animated ones.
On that note, real quick, how good is Robert? That, like, let's paint this a picture. What do you think would have happened, Chayce, if you had a girlfriend and she walked in and there was some girl that you picked off the streets and were just letting her stay the night, was on top of you after getting out of the shower, wrapped only in a towel?
I have one of my favorite notes I got from this entire movie, and I think it's time to talk about it. This movie, who do you think this movie was made for?
The parents and kids.
No.
The kids and the parents.
No. This movie was made for divorced single dads. And when you look at it through that lens, the dragon makes sense. Mm-hmm. The greedy, all of it, you change stepmom for in-law.
Oh my God, Chayce. I was just sitting here like, there's not a lot of women hatred in this, but let's break down the main characters that are women. The evil queen, who's evil, like, there's no motivation other than she's just bad. Giselle, who, we love her, we adore her. She a little bit, she doesn't have all the, that's not all up there. And the girlfriend, she just walked out like he was helping the girl out. Who cares if she was naked and on top of her? Like,
exactly. And so, but the thing that got me, this is what got me, is like how they just, like, she's just hanging from this thing and she falls on him. Somehow doesn't break something. And he's just like, well, what are you doing? Okay, well, you want to come back to my house? Like, it's raining. Let me help you out. And like, this is divorce. Like, they should let me go back through and redo the soundtrack, and it's going to be purely Nickelback, like Chevelle, and like just dad rock. And I'm telling you, this movie would make a lot more sense.
This is how you remind me.
You're telling me that wouldn't fit in this movie? Anyway,
I was waiting for his duet of Nickelback.
Okay, I swear, if there was a Nickelback duet in this, it'd actually be so good.
That's that would have made the movie peak. Made it top 5 best Disney films of all time.
Oh, it's so good. I've been so good. But like, legit, like, that's kind of the framework that, like, I look at his character and I'm just like, This is what every dad that just goes through a nasty divorce has they're just like, I just want like a princess to fall in my lap and then to teach me
Literally.
about emotional availability. And, like that was me just trashing on your childhood movie.
Is it too much to ask that a naive princess who is quite attractive and a redhead to boot just falls in your lap like, I made these clothes out of your drapes. Whoopsie, I'm sorry.
Nah.
God damn, she's bad though.
But yeah, so it's just funny all around that way. But they also do a good job, I think, in those introductions of like, there's this weird thing in storytelling that I've really realized over the last bit, which is, which is really funny because I've been deep in Game of Thrones again, is that it doesn't matter how bad a character's entrance is. And I don't mean like, hey, like they showed the character bad. Like, I mean, like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. And it's too convenient. If the character's good enough, you just don't care. And so, like, I feel like this is 100. They're like, hey, we're just going to give you some good tropes, good characters, and we're going to introduce them in like 10 minutes, and it's going to be terrible. But we'll get it over with, and then you'll love the characters.
I'm just curious, which character are you referring to in Game of Thrones?
I'm in the middle of season 6, and it's like, there's just a bunch of characters that it's just like, this is so convenient. You're looking at like and pretty much I'm at the point where like every single house just gets a new head just cause.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? And it's just like, oh, that's my uncle. Where did he come from? Oh, and he admitted to killing my dad, but like it's like what?
But my dad was sort of an asshole, right?
Yeah,
So
like it works because everything else is so good, but it's just like such a convenient. It's just like, hey, we're gonna bring in a new person because the story's like kind of told itself up this far, but we're not gonna even like give this person any back. Like we've done zero lead up on this. Like it's just like, here he is.
Well, again, we could spend the rest of the podcast.
We are. Star Wars, Game of
But
Thrones. We're covering a lot of ground.
Euron is one of the greatest characters in the books, and it's literally a crime to me what they did to him in the show. So
yeah, I mean, we can go once again. Real quick, we could also go that route with Tyrion. Tyrion is super mistold, like but that's besides the point. That's besides the point.
That's besides the point.
But we're on Enchanted. We're on Enchanted.
Enchanted. Low key, two of my favorite moments in the movie. Like, and again, I know that this is going to be so basic of me. I love, like, I'm not a musical fan. I'm not. Like, I really do not like musicals, but that musical number in Central Park low key slaps, and the choreograph, like the dancing associated with, like it was well done. And the best part to me also is Robert is so relatable. He's like, do you know these people? Like, what is going on? Like, did you plan this?
Yeah, I really liked that part of it. I like musical. This sounds weird. I like going to musicals. I don't like watching musicals. I don't know why. It doesn't carry over the same way to myself. But that scene they do such a good job of, once again, of just like making fun of the trope.
Yes.
Like she just starts singing and it's like, no. I don't know if you. There's a Saturday Night Live skit that this reminds me of, which is like it's this hilarious one where they just keep, it's like a game show. They just keep, ooh wee, oh what up with that? And it's like the same thing, and it's like you can just kind of hear in the background, like some guy will be saying, he's like, my father passed this last year, and you'll hear the little drum, like, and that's what this reminds me of. It's just like you hear, like it's like this is not the time for a song, and it's like, and she just starts like just bubbling up, and she just can't even help it. She's just in there in a fucking musical.
Well, that's the part that I found very interesting because it almost is like she brought magic into the real world because, like, you could argue that that was a form of magic that she was doing where she was able to have everyone in sync and doing a whole choreograph. And then even like when she sings all the cockroaches and the rats and the pigeons, like that's my second favorite part of the movie is when she's like, oh, 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 and the cockroaches come and the rats come and the pigeons. And she's like, well, you're not my typical friends, but you'll do. And they just start cleaning everything up.
Yeah, that
I'll
part's
tell you
really
this
good.
much. If I walked in with some girl in my house just surrounded by cockroaches, rats, and pigeons, she out. I'm sorry. Like that is some level of
Her feet
witchcraft.
definitely stank.
Yeah. Yeah. And if she's holding the rats and like kissing that, like she kissed a rat. And I'm not talking about Robert.
That's my thing. There's so many good moments in this show as it goes on. 'Cause now that we're getting into chapters, what's the next chapter holding? We're having it because they get a little bit bigger.
The last chapter is going to be the ball and the attack and just the wrapping up of that. Do we want to dive into that, or
Well,
do
how
you
many
want
chapters is there in this?
just 3 chapters?
Oh, so yeah, literally it's like 10 minutes, 70 minutes.
Well, no, this I feel like this middle section, this chapter 2 is the longest chapter because
Oh,
this
so it's
is
10
like
minutes, 80 minutes, 10 minutes.
yes, yes.
My bad. My bad. No. But yeah, and so like there's just so many spots through this whole in between section where once again, I really miss about films from this time where they kind of just like let you exist in their world for a minute.
Oh.
Like the plot doesn't really like move forward that much. Like you kind of just see there's obviously like the character arcs. And the prince has, the prince has honestly got, once again, he has he doesn't really, nothing changes. He's just the prince the entire film. Oh, there is no
He doesn't
character
need to
growth.
change. He's perfect.
Yeah. There's no, like, there's not really, I think I go back to the scene, speaking of where the ship gets crucified, but they're just like in this like dirty little like hotel, and he's like pulling his boots off, and he's like, look, the magic mirror on the wall has a magic box, and I can change the screen. It's just fun.
Chase, I'm sorry, but I just have to. I was just thinking of this thread, and this thread turned into another map. This movie is the divorced dad movie. Let me explain to you a little even further. Okay. The prince is he's not a villain, but he is like antagonistic to Robert. And he's like the jock. And he's stupid. He's as dumb as like he is the dumbest human being that's on the face of the planet. But he is like the very definition of a jock. He's just running around. He's like, Giselle, my love. Like, there. Anti-jock in this film. Thread number 2. He's a divorce lawyer. And there's the whole scene when they're at the divorce offices. And Giselle convinces the couple to get back together. She convinces them to get back together. I'm sure there's a guy who's like, if somebody just would have talked some sense into her, she would not have left me.
Yeah. This movie truly was made for weekends at your dad's house after the big divorce.
Dad, I don't want to watch Enchanted again.
What?
This is what could have happened. This is what could have happened between you and your mother. I mean, me and your mother. Grab me a beer before we watch it. I need to get the right mindset.
Plays the Kelly Clarkson Monday Night Football just before watching Enchanted.
Oh,
This movie really is just divorced dad core.
yeah. You know what? I'm glad, Chase. I'm glad that they're making a movie for every audience.
I'm just running through the film right now and just going, wow, that really is like, I know I said that, but like, that's really this film.
This
Like,
is Tangled for divorced dads.
this is Tangled for. All right, well, go ahead and just end it. We're good. I think let's do the dragon.
We don't need to do a dragon grade like that.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Yeah, what do you mean? We're gonna do an ex-wife grade. Bring her up. Oh my god.
What do we grade her on a scale of 0 to 10 in design? Let me tell you.
Um, You know what's funny? I am looking at my other notes, and I like, so like literally my note says that punched him and laughed and got angry. She is in the because there's that part where she's like, "I'm angry," and like starts like, and
She's
she
like,
like
I
hit,
am angry. This is amazing.
yeah, like, but she like punches him, and I'm like, that abusive asshole. And he's just like, and then he almost kisses her, and I'm like, this is a divorced dad film.
The pieces keep coming together.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
I also do just want to point out I actually enjoy how much like because Giselle still is like a good, happy fairy tale like person,
uh,
but she's being hardened by life because at the end when she actually meets up with Edward, she's like, I don't like this guy. Like there's no spark, there's
uh,
no enjoyment. And it really tells me that like, okay, yeah, like this guy is like sort of, I mean, he was definitely more isolated. He was only surrounded by the fairy tale creatures. He didn't really get affected by real life, while Giselle was over there getting shown divorces. She was getting shown
yeah,
like I caught there were hookers that were laughing at her when she was running through the
no,
streets.
100%.
Like,
That's why that scene, I'm like, what in the fuck? Like, what? 100%. It's exact. I think all of that checks out with it. It's just funny looking back on it now through the divorced dad lens and just being like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Exactly like how someone childless would just show up on your doorstep,
yeah,
and then your girlfriend who has a good job. But no, really, the prince's character with. It's funny you say that he was. I didn't even put the pieces together. He's surrounded by all of the animated characters the whole time, and so he really does go through like it's. And he's still being treated like a prince, where she's kind of like getting knocked down a notch, which is part of the fun, which is later in the film. Like she makes another dress and he's like, what? That she's back.
my God, Chase, the puzzle pieces keep coming together. Like,
Oh, no, what? No.
who does the girlfriend that he was with initially was thinking about proposing to end up with? Who does she end up with? Who does Nancy end up with? The jock! Mr. Steal Your Girl!
Oh, this is
It's
so
all
good.
there.
I want to rewatch it now, just thinking about the divorced dad part.
You need to sit down with Riley and just be like, okay, before we hit play, just think two words. Divorced dad. Then hit play.
And then I'm just going to play Stained. It's been a while since I've been.
Every time there's a musical, you just replace the music.
I can already see the cuts that are going to be coming on Instagram in the next week. I cannot
I
wait. I
I
just
I'm
need you to take every musical and just put dad rock over the top of it.
instead of that's how you know she loves you, you're just like, this is how you remind me. Or you're getting some like arms wide open, I
Hey, fuck it.
stand alone, I'm no hero and I'm not made of stone.
Yeah, put Creed on there right now. Yes, I. This is why we do this, to
This
bring.
is the whole
This is
reason.
why we do this.
And I just have to say, Nana Vagar says in the chat, "Oh God, I'm never going to be able to watch this movie again in the same light." That's what we do, Nana Vagar.
Uh,
We ruin things, or better yet, we dissect it and make it better.
I just think it's really funny that you woke up this morning and at no point did you think it's that you were going to be like, oh, Enchanted is a divorced dad movie.
Nope, I
Then here
discovered
we
that
are.
like 50 minutes ago.
Never know. You never know. While we're on but this is something else that did won't say peeves me, but I thought was really interesting. Do you know how many times the actors in this film almost ate shit? I don't know if you noticed that. So
I don't know if I
one of
do.
the very first opening scenes where she's running down the stairs with everybody, if you
Mm-hmm.
pay attention, she literally like has her arms like she's like falling, and you can see like the actors talking to her because she is just like being because of that big dress going down the New York like train station stairs, is literally just being like carried. And then the opening scene when the prince first comes around on the bus, almost eats shit.
Okay, I do remember him almost eating shit on the bus. Like that was
I don't know if it's on purpose or not, 'cause it doesn't look like it is,
no.
but he
Well,
almost
I mean,
eats it.
he literally eats shit though, but I think it was intentional when he crashed them the bikes.
Yeah, the bikes one makes sense, but like no, just overall, like that's I mean, like this movie's like I don't know how you could say this other than it was tastefully done bad.
Yes, it's like Black Dynamite.
Black Dynamite is like a treasure. I have not heard of that in such a long time.
Austin and I quote Black Dynamite all he's like, but Black Dynamite, we sell drugs to the community.
One thing I just give
Dynamite.
give my jump rope. I didn't think
Those of you that have not watched Black Dynamite, stop what you're doing right now and go watch Black
are you
Dynamite.
talking
It
about
is
the animated one or the movie?
the movie.
Oh, I'm talking about the animated series. That's what
Oh,
I've.
the animated. Austin is told like we've only watched the movie, so maybe I
Oh
need to have.
man, this series is good. This
Well,
series is real
it's so
good.
bad that it's good, right?
No, like it's like Boondocks, but like another.
Okay.
It's like that kind of humor.
Okay. Well, I'll give it a listen. I
It's
love the movie.
it's worth. I think it's better than the movie. Well, I started on the animated series.
Okay.
But
Well,
anyway,
speaking of the animated series, uh do we want to start chapter 3 of
we do need to start chapter 3.
Alrighty. Chapter 3 Love, Betrayal, and a Happily Ever After. Giselle, Edward, Robert, and Nancy attend a costume ball at the Woolworth building. Giselle and Robert share a dance, and she begins to feel a conflict about leaving him. Narissa, disguised as an old hag, tricks Giselle into eating the poisoned apple. Giselle falls into a deep sleep, and the clock ticks towards midnight. Edward's kiss fails to wake Giselle, but Robert's kiss, with Nancy's blessing, succeeds just. Damn it! It's all there! It's all. Okay. Start with the top. It's all there!
I rest my case.
Edward's kiss fails to wake Giselle, but Robert's kiss, with Nancy's blessing, succeeds just before midnight, subverting the traditional fairy tale trope, emphasizing the complexities of love. Narissa transforms into a dragon at an hour, 31 minutes, and 15 seconds, and takes Robert hostage. Giselle rescues him, and Pip helps defeat Narissa, who falls to her death. Edward and Nancy marry in Andalasia. Nathaniel stays in New York and writes his autobiography. Pip returns to Anastasia and writes his autobiography. Giselle starts a successful fashion business and forms a family with Robert and Morgan. What a divorced dad is going on here where he gets permission to kiss her from Nancy.
I just, you know, once again, that's more put together with the divorce dad thing. Like for me, it's like the dragon.
Oh, Nana Vagar
Is
just
that what?
pointed out another good point.
Oh
Another
no!
another pin to put in the divorced dad movie board is the fact that the daughter actually gets along with the new redhead hottie. It doesn't care for the girlfriend.
I hate and love this so much.
This is a spiritual experience that we're going through right now.
All right, man.
We need to write a research paper on this.
Well, the thing, but it just makes it like the dragon, because I mean, but like the dragon makes sense and doesn't make sense in this movie, but it makes a lot of sense when you think dragons. Hell yeah!
Chayce, who saves who? Who saves who? Who saves who in this movie?
I wonder. I just hold on. I need to look up something.
Was the writer and director like
That's
going
exactly what I'm
force?
looking up right now.
It's the only thing that makes sense, right? Because I'm pretty. Yeah, let me go back up here. Kevin Lima and Bill Kelly, both men. Both men.
I'm looking. I only looked up I'm like, when did he get divorced?
We need.
He's been. Let's see. Says he's been with the same person for a while.
What about the director?
That's what I looked up. Kevin Lima.
Let me look up Kelly then, because the writer of the film might be able to provide some details. Oh my God, Kelly is giving off. Oh, I don't want to say. Oh my God.
I mean,
it's not saying that he's not forced.
this is crazy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. There's no information, but I can.
Is he the one that has long hair?
No, I don't think that's him. I'll send you some pics. I'll send you some pictures because it's here. I'm gonna.
Kelly. I got it.
Kelly, American screenwriter. Oh my God, this is like. That's the pictures. we're hey, we love and appreciate everyone. We do not judge on this podcast.
Bryce does. I don't.
We are inclusive.
There's gotta be.
Bill, I'm sure you're a lovely person. I hope you're happy wherever you are.
You know what else makes this worse is how much older Robert is than the prince.
Right?
Like she's probably like, I thought this at the beginning of the movie, but I think it's an animated character. She's like 20.
Yeah, that's being generous. Like,
I wonder. That's just losing.
If it's a Disney trope.
Yeah, points have been made.
It is New York City, if you know what I mean. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I think chapter 3 has just evolved into like finding the remaining threads of Divorced Dad movie. For me, it was that he got permission from the girlfriend and she's cool with it. But I also do love that how she was like, I don't care. I love this guy over here. He's an idiot. He's a meathead. Like, because she was like the entire time, like, just like so entertained.
So it's okay with everything.
Yeah, except for, just the casual thing of a naked woman landing
Ooh,
on it.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. How so far, not a fan, because Giselle is 20.
I'm guessing that Robert is 37. Patrick Dempsey, how old was he in the film? He was 41. And that's all we have for today, folks. That is all we have for today. Oh my gosh. 41 years old with a 20-year-old redhead who's naive and easily impressionable. And he's like gaslighting her the entire time. Like, do you really love the guy you're with? Do you really love the guy? Oh my God.
Let's just raid the dragon and get out of here.
Well, any final thoughts on the film, Chase? Any final thoughts? I do just want to talk about how the wedding was funny between Nancy and
The
Edward, where
whole
she,
last part of the movie's good. Like
yeah,
it's a good build up. It's a good ending. There's lots of
yeah.
action.
I
I
love
don't know how we
Nathaniel.
got here, but we got here.
These revelations had to come to a like. This is real independent journalism that we're doing
I was about
here.
to say that. I was about to say that. Like this is the
We're not
media,
paid.
not paid actors.
This is what the New York Times does not want you to know about. This is what the Washington Post does not want you to know about.
I hate this. I hate I hate that this makes so much. I almost want to rewatch it now with this lens. Like
I,
every part of this movie, like who, those two men, Bill and whatever the other guy's name is, what were y'all doing writing a 41-year-old character?
with a 20-year-old in a live action film, a Disney
Yeah,
live action film. Bill and Kevin. Bill and Kevin.
whose plane were you on, Bill and Kevin? Whose plane were you on?
Oh my gosh.
You know what my favorite thing in this universe is? Is that it hasn't happened yet, but Robert's definitely been on that plane.
Who do you think it was? He was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer.
That's where they're hiding all the evidence is in the animated world. That's why we can't. That's why we can't find
Oh
it.
my gosh.
That's why we can't find it.
The phone that Nancy takes when it gets destroyed. That's the black box. That's the box. Guys, I am so excited to edit this. I feel like
This is gonna be
so sad.
fantastic.
This is going to be one of the best episodes yet. But on that note, I do just have to say, Nathaniel, when he's writing his like self-help book and he has like the three baddies behind him, like that's I love it.
No,
I
this
love
it's
it.
good. It's a good movie. It's a good time.
Oh my god. We didn't even talk about Nathaniel being used and abused by the evil queen the
No, dude,
entire time. And once he discovers, oh my god, I need to let my hair down. This is too much. The bud can't handle it. Ugh, ugh.
it's been a while.
And once he discovers that he's being used and abused and he is free to express himself, he surrounds himself with young baddies who are models and most likely do not speak English and speak Russian.
But every time we got more further into the story, it's just like
We see you. We see you, Bill and Kevin. We see what you did here. You thought you were sly. It almost took us 20 years to discover it, but we finally found it.
I desperately need this to go viral. And I need this to go viral on TikTok so that I can see people duetting this and telling us stories of like, yeah, I used to go to my dad's house every other weekend and we would watch Enchanted.
He would tell me your slut mother left me for the gardener over here. You know who would leave me?
See,
That Fernando.
it was always just like, feel like you're like mom's new little boyfriend or something.
I bet he doesn't even know. I bet he doesn't even know what a corn dog is. I bet he just rides horses. But he just rides horses and beats up trolls. I bet that's all he does, isn't it? You want any more pizza rolls? I got some pizza rolls in the oven.
Oh, the pizza rolls is crazy. Um,
Any final thoughts on the film before we do the Dragon Grey to get out of here? Nana Vagar, you heard us. You need to make this go viral, Nana. You're the one that's really enjoying this right now.
it's a I can't say I have nothing to say. Everything I tell you, I'm trying to like I don't have it. It's just like divorced dad core.
This is I'm going to make the title of this Divorce Dad movie of the century. That is going to be the...
That's it. That is my final thoughts.
All right. Well, on that note, like all our films, we have a dragon grade to do. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, the dragon grade is divided up into 5 categories: dragon design, dragon special effects, the dragon character, the overall film, and the X factor. We grade the dragon on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being abysmal, 10 being incredible, 5 being okay. Now, Chayce, what do you give the evil queen, Nerissa, on a scale of 0 to 10 for design?
I think she makes a strong case for like a 6-7.
A 6-7? So like 6.7 or
Yeah.
6.5?
6.7.
Okay. 6.7. I love it. I love it. I agree. I actually think that her design's a pretty good design. I do enjoy it. I think it's pretty good. In fact,
Yeah, no,
I'd say it's very good.
Yeah. Execution was awesome.
7. Like, she's not like, the joke is, I like my big thick dragons. She a little thick. She not super thick, but she thick enough. Like,
oh God, you pay taxes.
I pay I pay taxes. I have a mortgage. I have a job. People listen to me. That's the concerning part. People tune in and they're like, "What is Bryce saying right now?"
The thing is, you're very on top. It's just so funny to me that those two things could coexist. I don't pay taxes. I'm not doing it.
Chayce, you can't be saying that in Arizona right now. You know what they'll do to you?
Yeah.
All right, Chayce. On a scale of 0 to 10, special effects.
Okay. I think it. Honestly, I'm gonna say 2.8.
2.8. Talk me through the 2.8.
I feel like this is where this dragon really loses. Is it's like you can see like it seems like they spent all the budget up until this point. Like the chipmunk looks better quality up until this point. And just I don't know, with the character there's so many things they could have done to make this I don't know. I guess this is the best way to put it is it seems like this is the last place where they added in yet another animation style, and it would have looked so much better in that 90s animation style.
Yes.
And it just doesn't match. It looks 3D. It looks I hate to say this because it's like obviously it looks fake, but like it looks overly fake. Like it looks like a student got an A+ on it in college.
I really think that there was really an opportunity to do something with it, and they just really did not bring their best game to it. Like, it didn't really look that good. I like the coloring, but again, that goes more to the design of it than the actual special effects. I think it was a right call to have a storm going on out there. So like making it like we've talked about that when a dragon is wet and it's dark out, it helps it look a lot better. But when they're in the ballroom, it just does not look good. And I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm just going those 2 extra decimal points up. I'm giving it a 3, which 3 translates to bad. Now, this one I'm actually pretty curious about. What do you give Nerissa the dragon, or just Nerissa in general, a score from 0 to 10 for her character overall?
I really like the character. I'm going to say like an 8.
Okay, talk me through that a little bit.
Once again, this is once I looked through the divorced dad thing, I was like, she's a little hotter than she needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like in like, this is 2007. The goth girl trope hadn't really kicked in yet, and she was living it. Want a dragon girl to keep me down. But no, it's she just has a cool aesthetic. She has a cool a mixture of the villain from like 100 Dalmatians, but like dragon.
Yeah.
It just works. It works, and that's the dragon truly is the worst. Like that's what I said. If she had more screen time, I think it would have been a better film.
No, I definitely agree with that. For me, like I enjoy that they made her just like unapologetically evil. Like she's purely selfish the reason that she wants to get rid of Giselle. And like the entire time I was just thinking like why did like this seems like so extra. Like why do you even kick her out? Like why do you send her to the real world? And then she's like, "Okay, why are you trying to kill her now?" Like you like there's so many extra
Big
steps,
jump.
but at the same time I'm like when you're getting desperate and you feel like you're about to lose something that's important to you, you make decisions that are irrational and not make sense. So in a weird way it was like the most humanizing thing about her, that she's making all of these like over abused. And these goth women just abusing Nathaniel over there, emotionally manipulating him to.
I want to be Nathaniel so bad.
Yeah, he was getting that stiletto on his neck half the time.
100%. But no,
So
yeah, 100%.
I agree. Like I think it's an 8. I think that translates to great. I think she is a great character. Like I
Mhm.
wish that we could have. I do wish that we would have. The only reason I'm not giving her a higher score is because of just how she was being portrayed in the live action adaptation. The cartoon was awesome. I loved
Mhm.
everything about it. I loved how just like yeah, it's just that
I
portion that.
totally agree. Totally agree.
But alrighty, the film overall. I'm curious, Chase. What did you give this divorced dad film from a scale of 0 to 10?
Honestly, like a 4.
A 4. Okay. Talk me through it.
It comes back down to like what a it belongs with Hamilton. Like I don't have nostalgia for this movie. I did not watch this movie as a child. Like if I was around now and I like we were doing something at Disney World and at Enchanted World, it'd be cool. Um, but this is definitely not a movie. I'm like, do you know what I need? Enchanted. Um, it's not to say that it's bad, but once was enough. Like there's no depth there. It's not that kind of film. It did exactly what it needed to do, which was take up about an hour and 50 of time.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think I was a lot more warm towards this film because I mean it's a fun idea. I do love the idea. An anime, I'm blanking on the name of it, but a fantasy world portal appears in Japan, and all of these fantasy creatures come into the modern world and they start like wreaking havoc in Japan. And for like the first 2 episodes, I think it's like, oh my gosh, there's dragons, there's monsters, and then the military comes in and just starts annihilating them, like just mowing them down with machine guns. And then they're like, oh, we can go in there. And like once they go in there, like my favorite line is the US comes out, we stand with Japan and we will be sending our own troops to to defend their democracy. And it's a fun like it's I just love the whole trope of like tying fantasy in with modern era. Like
Yeah, no, I get that. That's a fun idea.
the
I
execution could have been done better. So for me, it's a 6. So
that's a solid guess. It's a solid guess.
now the X Factor.
So I just read a comment from Nana, and I 100% agree. I think the X Factor is a 10
10.
because I'm gonna rewrite this film real quick. You take this dragon and you double down on the fact that this is a divorced dad film, and you put 6 flame decal on the side of it or racing stripes down the back of her, and then he just, can you take me higher?
Yeah.
10.
You know, I can't argue with that. I I don't think I feel comfortable enough giving it the 10, even though yes, because the divorced dad is for the film overall. Although, yes, the dragon does have some strong divorced dad vibe
That's
energy.
an ex-wife
However,
right there.
that's an
That's
ex-wife
an
right there.
alimony killer, is
Yeah,
what we call them
there
in the
is
industry.
no king. There is no king in the picture.
No king.
Yeah,
Okay.
she don't need no king.
No,
You know what?
when you can literally just be an ex-wife by existing.
That's what every divorced dad thinks is going on. He thinks that his wife is just living her life as an ex-wife, and she's just getting side dick on the side just for kicks and giggles. It's not out of
Secretly,
necessity.
she's a dragon.
But secretly, she's a selfish dragon sitting on a pile of
Yeah.
gold that's not even her gold, that she didn't even earn, that she
Now I think
stole.
if you think about it too, that's what they always call it's the mother-in-law or like the ex-wife. It's like, oh yeah, she's a dragon,
Okay, I guess this
the
is
beast.
there is so much that's going into this. Oh,
The
there's
lore
one.
gets deeper every second.
We just need to come back next week and talk about this movie being like we need to come back and like we wrote down every instance that this made this a divorced dad film.
Part
But
two,
before we dive part two, but
Shannon.
before
Part two.
the second divorce. It's always better the second time.
The second
Okay.
divorce. Oh,
I like how it has some like fins on its face. I like the content. It's an 8. It's an 8. 8 is great to me, which means Narissa, the evil queen, comes down to being a 6.35, which translates it's good. It's good. She good. But if you ask these divorced dads, she a baddie who just wants to take your hard-earned money. And she's not even spending it on your children. She's spending it on purses and perfumes and all sorts of good stuff like that.
that's crazy accurate. I can't think we're here. I cannot.
Guys, that's Enchanted. I have loved that's see ya. I have loved every second of it. I love singing to you guys. I love discovering that this movie was a divorced dad film. Oh, Vanity, I'm tying it all back.
I cannot wait.
That's a bad dragon. She is a bad dragon.
I cannot
Do
wait
not
for the
Google what
clips.
dragon is, though. Do not Google it, guys. It is not safe for work.
I cannot wait.
Chase, do you have anything to plug?
Probably just a divorce attorney.
Guys, look up your number one divorce attorneys in the area and give them a shout
If
out.
you
in the
talk to them,
comments.
your spouse can't talk to them.
Exactly. Do what
That's all I got.
do what Tony Soprano does and talk to all the best divorce lawyers in the county over. That's what I want to tell us how that went in the comments below. I am your host, Bryce Wilson. This has been one of the most fun episodes of
It's been a
Flag.
silly freaking time. Oh,
Like, share, subscribe, spread the good word about this being a divorced dad film, and have a good night.
That's all for this week's Dragon Lore. Takes cold and hot, spread shore to shore. Enjoyed yourself? Please join the squad. Follow on social media at Big Liz Pod. And one quick reminder before you go, to rate, review, and share the show. Thank you for listening. It means a lot. See you next week, same time, same spot.